This is it. It's the final week of the regular season for the Atlanta Braves, and there's still plenty to be watching for. Can Drake Baldwin win Rookie of the Year? Will Brian Snitker make an announcement? We'll talk about all that on today's episode of Locked On Braves, so let's get into it.
You are Locked On Braves, your daily Atlanta Braves podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome back to Locked On Braves, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, where we cover your favorite Atlanta sports teams each and every day. I'm your host, Jake Mastroianni. You can follow me on social media at ShortstopBall. Check out the podcast there at LockedOn_Braves on X and Locked On Braves on Instagram. If you're new and you're watching this on YouTube, please do me a huge favor. Hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button, and leave us a comment down below. We're getting so close to 15,000 subscribers on YouTube. We can do that by the end of the regular season happening this week. Hey, that'd be great. Hey, we can do by the end of the postseason. That'll be fine too. But thank you so much for your support there on the video side and on the audio side where you don't like looking at my face. I get it. Thank you so much as well. You can leave me a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. Thanks so much for making Locked On Braves your first listen of each and every day. And again, we are almost through this season. Enjoy this final week for the Braves. Hey, maybe they won't lose a game. We'll talk about that on today's episode. And again, I just want to get into what everything to watch in this final week. I still think there are many reasons to be tuning in. And one of them is you'll miss it when it's gone. You know, that's always the case when baseball season ends, no matter where your team finishes. I would always much be rather watching my team lose than just not watching anything at all. This episode is brought to you by 5-Hour Energy. Enough with boring and flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5-Hour Energy shots. Go to www.5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. Well, it is the final week of the regular season, the final week of the season for the Atlanta Braves, as they are not going to make the postseason. The first time that's happened since 2017. Last time they didn't make the playoffs, I didn't have any kids. Now I got 3 of them. One just turned 7. So that's how math works. I want to talk about, though, what to watch in the final week of the regular season, because there's still many reasons to tune in. Maybe not many reasons, but there are some reasons to tune in to this final week. And so I want to give you some of my top reasons to tune in. Let me know in the comment section below why you'll be watching this final week, other than it's just your last chance to watch your favorite team. The first one and the biggest one and the obvious one is the Drake Baldwin Rookie of the Year race. And he stumbled out of the gates in September, but he's really turned it on here over this last week. And it is a real battle now between he and Cade Horton. You look at the latest odds, pretty much everywhere you look, Cade Horton is the favorite, but it's really, really close. And what Horton has done in the second half of the season, really since July 20th, where he hasn't given up 2 earned or more than 2 earned runs in any start since July 20th. It has been truly, truly remarkable to see what he's done for the Cubs. He probably gets one more appearance this week. And with the Cubs pretty much already just locked into the top wildcard spot, can't win the division, I wouldn't be surprised if they give him a short outing, if they give him an outing at all, to try to preserve him for the postseason. But like I said, he'll probably get at least one more look this week, but I'd be surprised if he goes very deep into the ball game. But you look for Drake Baldwin, who, again, it felt like he was very much fading away, but with a strong finish here, I think he still has a really good chance to win. In his last 7 games, he's slashing .393, .433, .857, 3 home runs, and 12 RBI. He leads all NL rookies with 2.8 F4, and that was coming into Sunday, so that might have got bumped up a little bit there. Horton has 2.2 F4 on the season. I go back to 2022, where a precedent was set amongst voters, where if you got a great rookie starting pitcher and a great rookie position player, the guy who plays every day is going to win out. Because in that season, I just mentioned, Cade Horton has 2.2 F4. In 2022, Spencer Strider had 4.9 F4 and lost. Didn't get Rookie of the Year. Michael Harris got it, who had 4.7 F4. And, again, this is how math works. That's less than 4.9. And yet Michael Harris won it because he played every day. He played great defense at a demanding defensive position in center field. So you look at this season's body of work, and Drake Baldwin has the better WAR. He's playing a demanding defensive position and catcher pretty much every day. Again, I know I'm biased in this, but I think that leans toward Drake Baldwin. Now, a lot of voters are going to see what Cade Horton did in the second half and the remarkable run he's on, and that's going to try to sway them on a postseason contending team, and I get all of that. But just using the 2022 example, and I'm sure there are others where you've had a great rookie pitcher and a great rookie hitter, and it's pretty much equal, you got to give the edge to the guy that's playing pretty much every day, and especially if a guy's playing a demanding position like the catcher position. So that is my plea. That is my speech for voters out there. I know many of you watch this show. I wish not really, but vote for Drake Baldwin. I mean, again, if that precedent was set in 2022 and in other seasons as well, I think you got to give the edge for Drake Baldwin and his body of work over the entire season, playing a demanding position like that pretty much every day. I think it still leans Drake Baldwin, but he needs a good week. I mean, he can finish it off these last 6 games. If he stays as hot as he has been, I think that could give him the edge. Like I said, we might not even see much from Cade Horton this week. The other thing to watch in the final week is, does Ha-Seong Kim play his way into free agency? And when he was signed, we all pretty much assumed that he was going to pick up that $60 million player option after a abysmal season of injuries and not playing that well when he was healthy. And I said at the time, unless he just goes nuclear in the month of September, I feel like he's going to pick up that player option. Well, he slashed 313, 370, 469 with 3 homers, 6 walks, and 12 strikeouts in the month of September with the Braves. And with Bo Bichette getting hurt, many people thinking he could move to second base anyway, that he doesn't stick it short, Ha-Seong Kim might be the best shortstop free agent this offseason. And you know who his agent is in Scott Boras. I'm starting to lean like Kim's not going to pick up that option. And Braves will get a little bit of a window here. And hopefully, if that's going to be the case, the Braves can rework something to keep him around. Because if it's not Kim, you're back to the drawing board for shortstop in 2026. Because it can't be Nick Allen. Not going to be Nacho unless they do send him to the AFL and he plays some shortstop there. He's looked great defensively at third base. I question his range, as I always have with Nacho, but good hands, quick instincts, all of that we've been able to see at third base. There's just not a lot of options out there for shortstop if it's not going to be Ha-Seong Kim. The other thing is, does Snit make an announcement this week? Certainly could wait till the end of the season, and it wouldn't be surprising if he did so, but I would just personally love, and it would also give me some content for this final week, I would love for Snitker to make an announcement one way or another this week, and whether that's to stay or go. And if it is going to go, I hope he makes it this week so we can all give him a final farewell and send off and thank you for all the great things that he's done. So I'm hoping that happens this week, like I said, one way or the other. Another thing to watch for, where do the Braves draft odds land? Right now they're sitting with the 5th best odds. That has obviously fallen off a lot with this win streak. We talked about this on the postcast, so let me know what you think, because me and Lindsay were kind of split on it. Is it better for this team to end this season on a good long win streak, get some good vibes going into the offseason, or would it have better for them to continue to lose and try to improve their draft odds? I said, as a fan, I love the fact that they're winning. They got some good vibes. I love that. From a team perspective, I think it's better that they improve their draft odds to give you the best chances of getting the highest pick possible. That is going to help your team in the future. And I don't believe in carryover vibes or whatever you want to call it. I know Braves Thrills was on the postcast, said that he thinks that momentum carries into next year. I don't believe that. Now, the Braves very well could come out next year and play great, because I still think it's a good team. I don't think that's because they ended this year on a 18-game, 15-game win streak, whatever they could get to this year. I'm not great at math here on the spot, clearly, but I just don't think that carries over. Lindsay made a good point of mentioning, with Ha-Seong Kim, he's playing with a winner here. Maybe that entices him to want to stay a little bit more, or maybe sign a better deal, maybe. But I just don't think the winning success they're having at the end of 2025 is going to lead to more wins in 2026. I just don't buy that. And so for that reason, I think it's better team-wise if they were to have lost. It really doesn't matter at this point, because picks 4 through 6, which is probably where they're going to land, doesn't make that much of a difference in their draft odds. I think it would have been better for them to lose and get better draft odds for next season. And I just don't buy into the fact that good momentum carries over 4 or 5 months later into another season. Like I said, they may start out next year great. It would not surprise me at all, because I think it's going to be a very good team. But if that happens, I'm not going to say, oh, it's because they had a really good end to a disastrous 2025. That's just me. Let me know your thoughts down below. A couple other things real quickly. Does Matt Olson get to 100, 30, and 100? 100 runs, 30 home runs, 100 RBI. He's at 95, 28, and 93. So it would take a pretty big 6-game stretch here. But also, did he hit 280 over 280? He's at 279 right now, 352 on base, 509 slug, and 867 OPS. Would love to see, Matt Olson get to those numbers. I think it'd be really cool, especially where he was entering the month of September. As I've mentioned last week, he's been very consistently a good player all year long, at times a great player. Certainly this month of September has taken his counting numbers to another level. But I think it would just put a nice, kind of final touch on what's been an underrated, really good season for Matt Olson, as we talked about last week. By far the best first baseman in the National League this year. And then the last thing to watch for this week, and I cannot believe it didn't happen on Sunday, I need to see young Carlos Lara pitch in a game. I mean, his family flew in to be in Detroit for the game on Sunday. You got a 6-0 lead in the 9th inning, and you couldn't give the guy a chance. So I'm really hoping that we get to see him pitch a couple of times this week. I thought it would have been a great opportunity on Sunday to have him try to close out a game, and a game that was, pretty well in hand. So that was a huge missed opportunity there, in my opinion. But that's something I'm definitely watching this week is, do we get to see young Carlos Lara pitch, hopefully pitch a couple times? What does it look like? So those are some of the things that I'll be watching in this final week. Let me know down below which one you're most excited about, or is there something else that you're looking forward to watching this week? All right, next we'll get into the weekend's action, a sweep over the Detroit Tigers, who are now in trouble in the AL Central. We'll get into all that here next. This episode is brought to you by Zippix Toothpicks. Whether you're looking for nicotine satisfaction or an energy boost, Zippix has you covered with their nicotine and caffeine-infused toothpicks. For nicotine users, Zippix provides a discreet way to satisfy cravings and the hand-to-mouth habit without vaping or smoking. Zippix can be a helpful tool as you work to reduce your dependence on vaping. Available in 6 great flavors with 2 milligram and 3 milligram nicotine options. And if you need energy without the crash, their caffeine toothpicks are a game changer. You can use caffeine toothpicks before big meetings, long drives, or they give you energy, and they give you energy without all the jitters. And the flavors like peppermint watermelon ice actually taste great. So go to zippixtoothpicks.com, use the code LOCKEDON for 10% off your first order. Must be 21 or older to order. And warning, nicotine is an addictive chemical. That's zippixtoothpicks.com, promo code LOCKEDON. Zip more, smoke less with Zippix Toothpicks. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5-hour energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. What I love most about the 5-hour energy shots is how portable they are. Big taste, tiny shot. You can take it anywhere and get that boost when you need it. It kicks in super fast, and it's that sugar-free that really gets me right now. I'm trying to cut out those sugars, especially those added sugars, and you can do so with these 5-hour energy shots. You don't have to worry about the crash later as well. That afternoon crash, is coming. Like me, I got 3 little kids I'm trying to keep up with all the time. I don't have that energy. They should pack their energy into a 5-hour energy shot. There's an idea for you. Call me up. You want to. Enough with the boring and flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5-hour energy shots. Get the favorites you love, or be bold and try something new in store and online at www.5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. Thank you as always for making Locked On Braves your first listen of each and every day. Go check out Locked On MLB for your second listen of the day, solely getting you caught up with all the action happening down the stretch. I'm sure he'll be talking about this Braves 8-game win streak. The Tigers floundering right now, as are the New York Mets. You can catch all that on Locked On MLB, as well as the guys from MLB Game Night. Well, they'll be getting you caught up with all the biggest highlights from each and every night as well. The Atlanta Braves sweep the Detroit Tigers in Detroit over the weekend. They get their winning streak to 8 games in a row. And pretty fitting, they have a 7-game, Lindsey pointed this out to me, so I'll give him credit, a 7-game winning streak to end the season after a 7-game losing streak to start the season. So that was pretty fitting there for the Atlanta Braves. It's that big winning streak. I told you all year, Braves are going to go on a run at some point, but it was little too late. When that actually happened. We'll talk about the offense first. On Friday, 10 runs, 11 hits, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts, 2 doubles, and 3 home runs. So some good power there, 3 for 6 with runners in scoring position. So great offensive night for the team on Friday. And really in all these games, they scored 10, 6, and 6 runs in this series. Now the Tigers obviously struggling, didn't get Tarek Skubal in this series. kind of all over the place. Charlie Morton got lit up on Friday. Casey Mize, solid pitcher on Sunday. But certainly this Tigers team is struggling. On Saturday, they score 6 runs on 7 hits, 6 walks, 6 strikeouts in all of these series. And I think you've seen this a lot here lately for the Braves. They have 7 strikeouts or less. I always tell you I look for something under 8 strikeouts, and they did that in all these series. And they also got 4, 6, and 7 walks in this series, and they got 11, 7, and 11 hits. So this was a great series for this Braves offense. But getting back to Saturday, 3 home runs on Saturday, 2 of them by Nacho. They went 2 for 6 with runners in scoring position, exploded late in that game as well. Some great at-bats in the 9th inning. It's been a while since I've had a lot of fun watching a Braves game. I mean that in the best way possible. I just mean a game that had something on the line where the Braves, had to battle back a couple of times to win a game. Saturday is the most fun I've had watching the Braves in a while. It helped that, there weren't many good college football games on Saturday either. And certainly the Auburn game was a complete mess, that whole crew that needs to be evaluated. But either way, I thought Saturday's game was a lot of fun. I enjoyed watching that. As much as I know the season is over, that felt like as close as we were going to get to some sort of meaningful game here the rest of the way. And I love the fight by the team in the 9th inning there to come back and win that one. And then on Sunday, 6 runs on 11 hits, 7 walks to 7 strikeouts, 2 doubles, a triple, that was by Drake Baldwin, and a home run as well, 3 for 10 with runners in scoring position. So again, this is maybe one of the best offensive series we've seen, especially, like I said, I know the Tigers starting rotation is a little beat up right now at the moment, but it was a really good offensive series. I mean, we've seen them face some bad pitching staffs in the past before, and the Tigers pitching staff overall this season has been good for them, but like I said, they're just not there at the moment. I mean, 10, 6, and 6 runs, 11, 7, and 11 hits, 4, 6, and 7 walks, 6, 6, and 7 strikeouts. They get multiple hits with runners in scoring position in each game. They get at least 3 extra base hits in each game. That is what you want out of this offense, and that's what we thought this offense could be and could look like next year. It's just we didn't see it consistently enough this season. And look, to avoid being hypocritical, because just 1 week ago, I did a podcast talking about how this team had quit and how it looked like they had quit because they went through a series where they faced the Cubs twice, they faced the Mariners, they faced the Astros, teams that are all good teams battling for the postseason, and the Braves pretty much laid an egg in all those series. They avoided getting swept in some of them. Maybe that's showing some fight. I didn't give that enough credit, but I didn't feel like they were as competitive as they needed to be against some of the top teams to prove to me that this team can compete next year with this group without making some adjustments, obviously getting the pitching staff back to starting rotation back together. And then they go off and win 8 in a row. And now I got pie on my face. But I said then, and I got to stay true to it now, I don't really care what they do the rest of the way because you are facing lesser competition and the Nats and a Tigers team that's struggling and a Nats team again and a Pirates team. You had an opportunity to show me at the beginning of this month and you didn't do it. Now that they're on an 8-game winning streak, hard not to change my tune a little bit, and especially after that game on Saturday where you see them fighting back, and maybe they listened to the podcast, and maybe they took that to heart. One can only hope. But you did see a little bit of that fight, at least in the game on Saturday. So it's fun to see. I mean, like I said earlier, I would much rather watch my team win games than lose games, even if losing games would have benefited them a lot more down the stretch here to help their draft odds. But this offense, that's what you're looking for. That's what you're hoping for. That's what we thought this offense could be. And hopefully we see that more consistently next year. We'll see if Tim Hires stays around for it. On the pitching side, Bryce Elder, 7 innings, 5 hits, no walk, 1 earned, 6 strikeouts, 98 pitches, 21 four-seamers. I always talk about the four-seamers with Elder. Averaged 93.7 miles per hour on that four-seamer. Topped out at 95. Got 4 whiffs on 13 swings, a 29% CSW on that four-seamer. 10 whiffs overall and a 26% CSW. This is one where, look, he got the results, and I know people are going to say that's all that matters. 91.2 mile per hour average exit velocity against 8 hard hit balls, a couple of fortunate lineouts that both had expected batting averages over 900, also had a 393-foot flyout with a 740 XBA. There was certainly some good luck for Bryce Elder, and that's just the way things are going for this Tigers team right now. One thing interesting that Lee and Lindsay talked about, I don't remember if it was on the postcast or after we finished recording, could Bryce Elder be trade bait this offseason. If he is out of options, and it looks like he's going to be, he could be a guy that, you see this good stretch at the end of the season. I don't think the Braves are going to get anything significant for him, but could be a guy that gets traded this offseason simply because he's out of options, and maybe a team just needs somebody to give them some innings, maybe a non-team that's non-contending type of team. That's something to keep an eye on this offseason. As for Joey Wentz, 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 walks, 2 earned, 7 strikeouts on 84 pitches, 8 whiffs on the 4-seamer is just an incredible number. He averaged 93.8 as well, topped out at 96, but averaged 18 inches of induced vertical break, which is really, really good. 14 whiffs at 31% CSW, so all that's pretty solid, but he also maybe got a little bit lucky, 91.9 mile per hour average exit velocity, 6 hard hit balls, got away with 1 very scary sac fly, but overall, pretty good stuff from Joey Wentz. I still think he is a long man spot starter if he's able to stick around, because he's also going to be out of options. So pretty interesting there to see Elder and Wentz kind of back-to-back, both kind of similar types of outings, both going to be out of options. We'll see if either one of them sticks around. I think both are great. I shouldn't say great, but they're solid depth guys for long reliever spot starters for next season if you're able to keep them around, which could be very difficult with neither of them having options. And then Spencer Strider on Sunday, 5 innings, 6 hits, 3 walks, no earned, 6 strikeouts, 101 pitches, 14 whiffs, and a 26% CSW. 14 whiffs is solid, 26% CSW, not great. 5 whiffs on 9 swings against the curveball, though, and that was the biggest thing to me. I talked about this on the postcast. Him getting more comfortable with that curveball and going to it in big spots later in the game, I think is huge for the development of Spencer Strider going forward if that velocity doesn't come back. And I'm still hopeful that it does, to be able to now have a third pitch that you really trust. And he throws 4 pitches with the curveball and changeup along with the slider and 4-seamer, I get, but he's never really had that third pitch that he can trust to go to in big spots. And in the game on Sunday, where again he was fighting it, you could see it. He was fighting the fastball command at times. He had the 3 walks in there. And they were laying off that slider, especially lefties laying off that slider down. He just didn't really have much to go to, but that curveball was a pitch that he could go to in that 4th and 5th inning to help him get through it. And I think that's going to be great for him long term. The fastball velo was down 1 mile per hour. He topped out at 96.6. Weather conditions might have had a little bit of an effect on that, but wanted to at least mention it. 88.3 mile per hour average exit velocity, only 5 hard hit balls. It's just a different Strider, and you really had to see him work to get through that outing, and he did it without giving up any runs, despite a lot of traffic. He made some big pitches when he had to. As far as the bullpen, Lita Johnson on Saturday, and then used Lee and Johnson in the 6th inning on Sunday in a close game was very interesting. It did force the Tigers to go ahead and use a lot of their pinch hitters. I don't know if that's why Snicker did it, or maybe just he did it because Snicker reasons. I don't know. But that was very interesting. Still using Dodd against lefties too much, but it did work. You brought Dodd back out for the 9th. I think it's mainly because he was just already up, and you don't want to burn him because you already had him up, so he was hot, so you might as well use him. And I just look at Dylan Dodd on the season and what he could be next year. 3.74 ERA, 0.98 whip is solid, 33 2/3 innings, 30 strikeouts, so about a strikeout an inning. Nothing great there. 226 average against is pretty solid, and a 1.34 walk per 9 is really, really good. Much better against righties, though. You're going to have to utilize him better. It's a 167 average for righties against Dylan Dodd versus 326 for lefties. It's actually quite concerning how good lefties have been against Dylan Dodd this year. I thought Nacho continued to shine at defensively over at third base. Also had the big game, career game on a Saturday. Unfortunately, he did get a cut on his throwing thumb, which is why he wasn't in the lineup on Sunday, but hopefully he'll be back soon and finish the season strong and then head off to the Arizona Fall League. All right, next we'll get into some news and also some of the playoff races to watch in the final week. We'll do all that here next. You've probably seen a million ads for hair growth products and thought, sure, like that actually works. There are so many products out there, and it's hard to know which ones are actually going to do anything. That's why you should give Nutrafol a closer look. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand, trusted by over 1.5 million people. And it's not just hype. This is a supplement clinically tested that targets the root causes of thinning and shedding with a proactive approach. Whether you're at work, out with friends, or even just getting ready in the morning, Nutrafol gives you more confidence in your daily routine. And you can feel good about it knowing Nutrafol is NSF certified and backed by peer-reviewed studies. See thicker, stronger hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering Locked On MLB listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's Nutrafol.com with the promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $10 off your first month subscription. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's your 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's where Monarch Money comes in. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. If you got prescriptions you forgot to pay for, you link your account and Monarch Money immediately spots those subscriptions that you're not using so you can cancel them. They've helped me do that. It's been a fantastic tool for me and my wife both to use as we look to budget together. So I highly recommend Monarch Money. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com just like I did, and you're going to get half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with the code LOCKEDONMLB. So a little bit of news here before we get into the playoff races. I mentioned Nacho got a cut on his thumb, didn't play Sunday. Hopefully we'll be back in there soon. The Braves claimed catcher Chucky Robinson off waivers from the Dodgers, auctioned him to AAA Gwinnett, and to make room on the 40-man roster, they put another man on the 60-day IL in Daysville Hernandez. As far as Robinson, he should have a minor league option left for next year, so I'd imagine that's a big reason for making that move. Some MLB news: Charlie Morton DFA'd after that rough game on Friday night. We'll see. The Braves pick him up and let him pitch one day this week. We'll see. Doubt it. The AL MVP race: Cal Raleigh versus Aaron Judge. Pretty certain it's going to be Aaron Judge, but something to watch. Raleigh just broke the career record for most home runs in a single season by a Mariner, passing Ken Griffey Jr. Been a big year for Cal Raleigh, and I'll make the same case for him as I do for Drake Baldwin, playing catcher every day, or not every day, but playing catcher the majority of the time. That's a big thing for Cal Raleigh. Now, Judge, it's hard to look past some of those offensive numbers, but Cal Raleigh's had a fantastic season, and in most years would be a runaway for the MVP. That's the only other race that's really up for debate, that one and the NL Rookie of the Year. All the rest of them pretty much decided at this point. Now, looking at the postseason picture this final week and what to watch, and hopefully maybe you got two screens or you want to really dive into some other postseason races. The Mets are Metsing, and right now they are tied with the Reds for the last playoff spot, as the Reds are playing good baseball right now. The Mets finish at the Cubs and at the Marlins, while the Reds finish at Milwaukee and against the Brewers, who are probably going to be all clinched at that point. So it's a pretty good schedule for the Reds here to end the season. The Diamondbacks are just a game back, but they finish against the Dodgers and the Padres, but they could figure in that mix as well. So that last playoff spot in the National League could be a very tight battle here in the last week of the season. And then with what the Braves did against the Tigers and with the way the Guardians have been playing, although they did drop a game on Sunday, those two teams separated by just one game, and they play a 3-game series starting on Tuesday. That's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And then the Mariners and Astros. I'm recording this before Sunday Night Baseball, where the Mariners have taken the first 2 games of that series. They have a 2-game lead up on the Astros in that division. But if the Astros were to win that one, get back within 1 game, certainly an interesting race to watch in the final week of the season. So that's everything you're going to be watching this week. It is the last week of the regular season. Like I said, I know a lot of people want this season just to be over with, but I promise you, come November, December, the dog days of the winter, I don't think that's a saying, but you're really going to be wanting to watch some Braves games. So enjoy this final week. Your team's playing well. Like I said, at this point, winning doesn't matter too much for their postseason odds because 4 through 6 isn't that big of a difference. So hopefully the Braves can continue to win. Hopefully Drake Baldwin stays hot. But let me know down in the comment section below, what are you watching for in this final week of the regular season? That will do for this episode of Locked On Braves. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube if you're new. Hit the thumbs up button. Leave me a comment down below. Make sure that you rate, review, and subscribe to the Locked On Braves podcast wherever you get your podcast, and we will talk to you next time.